I've just got a lot of other sources. We've had countless police call in. I talked to a police officer in Central Texas, I'll just leave it at that, who told, in uniform, who told me they're being told get ready for October. Late November, October. Again, that doesn't mean anything's going to happen. They've got to have a lot of these programs ready. Military's being told they've got to be ready for something big by October. October, November is the election. October, surprise, if Obama and his controllers decides to try to pull something, then that's the zone for an October surprise.
That makes sense.
But it doesn't mean when the New York Times comes out and says, Jones said there'd be martial law in October.
Yeah.
Talking about it may stop it, or they may have never have been planning it to begin with. The point is, that more and more they admit they're getting ready for civil emergency, troops on the street. That's not debated. I mean, they're going to call it martial law. What's the next question?
The next question is actually from Soft DMC, and they say, I live in a tiny 300 square mile island in Singapore, and that's completely built up. I have nowhere to retreat to where if, stuff hits the fan, I can't expect neighboring countries to take 5 million people. So is there any advice you have? Like, what am I supposed to do?
I have never been to Singapore, but I know that it is a globalist model where they arrest you if you drop chewing gum on the ground, where they cane you if you drop stuff on the street. And some can argue that's law and order. But it's more than that. They arrest and go after media that criticize the government.
Crazy bathroom laws. I mean,
oh, yeah, they have cameras in the bathrooms.
Yeah.
And they sue for slander and libel. They have the worst laws on in the world. Anybody that criticizes them, even internationally. So I'm not getting anywhere near Singapore. But the word is it's a place for elites. And then they bring you there. It's very clean, very nice. But they are coming after you if you've got a crooked toenail. But then meanwhile, the multinational, I was told by a high-level Republican who was there as a computer company owner. He was going to come on the air, then he chickened out. But I've known the guy for like 16 years. And he said that they test in Singapore in different neighborhoods, different drugs in the water supply. That's how advanced Singapore is like a test zone.
Wow.
And it took on kind of the British model. The guy that started it all was from China and claimed he was anti-authoritarian, but it's really just created a... China, the communist Chinese are looking at Singapore for their new model of oppression. It's like a hyper type of depression. And I think they call the guy that founded the country the Grand Architect or something. It's super creepy.
Wow.
So,
yeah.
Look, I'm not going to say don't live in Singapore because I don't think even though I've studied it quite a bit, I don't think I am that jazzed up, to the point, telling the right word, to be able to sit there and tell somebody that Singapore is a bad place.
So they're just going to have to stick on the island.
Yeah, next question. My wife sent me a text of a news article, and I'm addicted to seeing what it is.
Oh, that's cool.
I don't understand.
That's the question you read. How about that?
Oh, they're having a vote about should they ban our guns after the shooting in Colorado. Ugh. Unbelievable.
No kidding.
Next question. The
next question comes to you, and it's Vinificus. Sorry, I can't pronounce your display name right.
This is all for PlanetInfowars.com, the Ask Alex area.
I assure you I can read. Hey, Alex, have you thought about printing a geopolitical dictionary of terms with a brief description and example, pictures perhaps, of the term concerned? For example, false flag, counterintelligence program, etc. This way, you could raise... you can put it in your store, essentially. But I think that's actually kind of a good idea.
Yeah, we've thought about dictionaries, encyclopedias, like a real history of the world.
Right.
I've been offered countless book deals, and
not enough time. And
I did one, and then the ghostwriters, 2 different ones, would not really put down on paper what I'd said. It was bizarre. So I just said, I'm not publishing this book.
Yeah.
They weren't bad people, but it just didn't turn out to be what I'd said. And I said, I've had some of the biggest publishers in the country come and offer me deals, and I just don't trust them.
Yeah.
Because
they'll manipulate your words and put your name on.
They basically, yeah. But yes, that's a great idea. I definitely need to do video tutorials where we cover maybe, part 1, defining the New World Order, part 2, defining the New World Order, part 3, and then really break down from our research how the real world works. It's a great idea.
That's a great idea, absolutely. and tweet them out. Put them on Facebook, perhaps. You can check it out on Planet INFOWARS. The next question is from Arik, and he says, Alex, do you consider TWA Flight 800 to be a false flag event?
I consider it to be an assassination of a bunch of top Egyptian military brass that were on board the aircraft. Remember, every few years, a big Egyptian aircraft full of military brass flying back from the U.S. or England crashes in the Mediterranean, crashes in the Atlantic. I mean, they really are, the globalists trying to make sure Egypt stays in line with them, and I guess they invite them over and offer to pay them off. And if that crop doesn't take the offer, they're all dead. Without getting into the whole diatribe, TWA Flight 800 was totally shot down by a continuous rod warhead. Over 800 witnesses saw it, including over 100 that were on Navy ships and in helicopters. There was a drill out there that night, and they used it as a pretext to blow the aircraft out of the sky. Reporters broke in and got samples of the aircraft. Remember, they reconstructed it, and it had the residue of high explosives on it. It was blown up, continuous rod warhead. And General Parton and others, who was the former head of Air Force Weapons Development, was able to look at it and tell what it was.
Wow.
And basically, it's just a big sabot. They just, big old metal rod. They just shoot right through an aircraft. That's the way to get them.
So they're probably really concerned about all of the uprisings in Egypt and all of that then, blowing up there.
Well, yeah, they were trying to get that going. They don't want any mainline governments who just want to have a country and have tourism, people go to college and be happy. They put the radical Shiites or Sunnis in everywhere. They created Saudi Arabia, they created Al-Qaeda, they created all these people. That's why they're putting Al-Qaeda in Libya and Syria now.
Yeah, accentuate the radicals there.
Well, yeah, the most radical. I mean, look, if your country's got women going to college and not wearing burqas, you're dead. Absolutely. I mean, you know, that's the end of it. But then they think we're so stupid, we've got to give up all of our rights because Al-Qaeda may be under the table, Christy. In fact, have you checked?
Actually, I was just doing that. I mean.
No, I mean, you need to check right now.
I'm scared.
But they think we're so dumb. They run Al-Qaeda against Syria, against Libya, against Iran, against the Serbs, against the Russians.
All the while funding them.
And then brag.
Yeah.
And then, oh, but these Al-Qaeda that all trained at military bases, they didn't really work for us. Oh, and Amr al-Awlaki, he was at the Pentagon. Oh, and all these other guys were. And Muttalib was got on the plane by the government, underwear bomber. But never mind, Christy. Everything's fine. Isn't Al-Qaeda scary?
We just need a patsy. That's all we're looking for. Ramblin' Man asks you, what do you think about Steve Quayle and Hawk, who say evil is taken over and basically we have no hope and even gun owners will not even slow them down? Well, I think Steve's a really interesting guy, and so much of what I'd hear him talk about 15 years ago that I just thought was crazy has a lot of it's turned out to be true, and I think he's a really well-meaning good guy who has been a man before his time in many cases. Do you think this is the case, then?
I didn't hear him say that, and I know he knows there's always hope through Christ, and people are really waking up. You know, all this bad's happening, but people are also really waking up, and I think the idea that, you know, nothing can stop it and that's the end of it. I mean, I've got children. I'm never going to have that view. And people always, you know, get despondent and think everything's over. It's always darkest for the dawn. I mean, I'm not saying the person's lying, but I should probably contact Steve and see if he's really saying that.
What do you think about guns? This is kind of off topic. What do you think about guns in relation to nuclear bombs? I mean, if you have a gun, it's not going to stop someone from nuking your country.
Is that their question?
No, I'm sorry. It's totally my...
We're going to have Christy ask you, Alex.
My question.
No, but people always say, oh, my God, guns, how are you going to fight helicopters? You don't go out with your gun and fight a helicopter. You don't go out and look for it. People are trying to put you in a concentration camp. All over Germany and Poland, everywhere the Nazis went, they would show up and tell the Jews, show up here. They'd show up orderly with their hats and their stuff, and here's my money, here's my kids. Okay, we're going to break you up, put you in a truck, take you away. I mean, I'm not going to do that. One place in the Warsaw Ghetto, like a couple thousand people, a couple thousand Jews resisted. They killed thousands of Nazis, something like 7 to 1 they killed. They held out for almost 3 or 4 months. Wow. They had to send in divisions in there just because they had some guns and fought back. And I mean, the Germans had big tanks and had Stukas bombing the buildings. They just stayed in the basements, waited, and killed people when they came to get them.
So it's tactics at that point.
Point is, they just said, well, they're going to kill us anyways. Might as well just kill some. I mean, it gets down to that point of They can't even get our guns and ban them because they know people aren't going to turn them in. A certain percentage are going to fight. That's where they hold back. The founders put that in place. Like the vampires are all around us. If you can see them politically, they're all right there. They're invisible. You throw dust up, you can suddenly see them. They're all right there. But the guns, the free speech, the fact that we're fighting, that we're not losing hope, that's holding them back. The fact that they commit an atrocity, like I believe this was a false flag, it has all the signs, I mean, it's over the top. The fact that they did all of that and still are having to automatically still back off and having to go to the UN to try to ban our guns. I mean, we're not giving up. And I'm not somebody who shoots my mouth off about violence, but here's the deal. Me nor my wife or my children, if Army trucks come around and say you're going to the FEMA camp or we've got shots for you, we're not doing it.
Right.
And, that's the point of, well, it's been nice, being here. But I ain't going alone. Okay, nobody's taking my kids, none of it. You're going to have to fight for my children. And nowadays, in a nation of cowards, I guess that's a radical statement. I'm not going to a death camp. I'm supposed to just get my hat and like run down into the pit to get shot. Have you seen all those film footage of the naked women stripping off because they were going to recycle their clothes and stuff? And they got their babies and they go in there and get shot? Or like you see one group run down in and they shoot him, and then another group, like the guy has the hat in his hand and he wants that approval from the guy in the black uniform. So he kind of, no, thank you, sir. And if I'm a tough guy or radical, because, well, I mean, it's real simple. I mean, if I went in my garage, it's happened before, and there's a big old bull raccoon over there, I mean, they can kill full-grown pit bulls. I mean, they're that tough. They jump on their head and, bite their eyes out and try to put them in water. I mean, they're really tough. But the point is, it's a little bitty raccoon. If I walk in my garage and there's one and it goes, I'm just going to go back in the house because let me tell you, I mean, I can either go in there and shoot them or I'm not going to try to find them. The thing probably only weighs 25 pounds, but it will tear you apart. I mean, snapping so fast, you'll have bites all over you. Ugh. And so we need to look like wolverines or raccoons. We need to stop thinking of ourselves as these wimps. A bunch of criminals that have taken over the country and bombed Oklahoma City and staged Fast and Furious think they're going to have some Soviet New World Order takeover re-education camp operation. Then we're not starting the fight. We're here. You come and start a fight with me, you're going to get one right back. I mean, I'm already point blank attacking them with words. And before the shooting starts, that's the most powerful weapon, Christy. So, I mean, I'm right up front like I've done my whole life, just pounding these people right in the face because they're attacking us with their words, with their disinfo, their lies. My weapon's the truth. It's a lot more powerful.
Wasn't it in the war, the book of, is that, oh my goodness, I just lost my train of thought. Essentially, if you have to shoot first, you've already lost. Isn't that the concept of that?
Sure, until it starts. And then once they shoot first, you always shoot first. You understand the difference? If they start the war, that doesn't mean you always shoot second after it starts.
Okay.
You always shoot first once it starts. You never shoot first until it starts.
Got it.
Then you choose the time, the place.
There you go. Under your own. Got it. Well, the next one comes to you from Jewel, and she says, a few months ago, you had Stuart Rhodes on, and he mentioned he was going to attend a meeting with state governors. Have you heard anything back?
No, we should get Stuart Rhodes back on.
Okay, done. Check that one off. And
we should get Stuart Rhodes on the next few days.
Yeah, that'd be good. The next one is from
How many questions? Rob, you've got to go edit the other piece for the news tonight. How
much time do we have?
Do a wide shot. Run on out and check on that. Good job. And leave this all in. Don't even edit this out. You'll get to see all the behind the scenes here. Christy, continue.
The next one comes to you from Nevik, and he says, my question is, how do you feel about the approaching world war? And how will it affect the freedom movement here in America and globally?
Say that again?
There's a little more to that, but essentially he's asking, he thinks there's an approaching World War III, and how would that affect our freedom movement here?
Oh, my gosh. Yeah. They always get these wars going. Show that people say, well, it's patriotic. We didn't want to get in the war, but we've got to get behind it now.
Yeah, of course.
And they're creeping towards that with Russia, with China even. People say, well, do you like Russia and China? No, I don't live there. They're authoritarian too, but I'm run by foreign banks who want to get me into this war so they can get us all in debt to them. I don't want to go to the party. Yeah. I don't want to have a war with the cops, with the military.